So now we're going to start modeling our character from a cube. It's called box modeling. In order to generate a cube, we need to go to Create, Polygon Primitive, Cube. We're working with polygons in this model. I'm going to click the View Cube, the cube options. A lot of different tools have these option boxes, and they'll give you control over the tool that you're using. For this model, we're going to make sure the height, width, and depth of the model is 3.2 units. And within the preferences, you can decide what these units actually represent. For width divisions, I'm going to use 4. For height divisions, I'm going to use 4. And for depth divisions, I'm going to use 3. So we're going to go ahead and create that. It's going to create it at the origin here. It's in the wireframe mode right now. If I hit 5 on the keyboard, it will shade that cube. If I hit 4, it again will go into wireframe. If I hit 5 and I'm in the shaded view, I can view it partially see-through by going to Shading in the panel and X-ray, and that will make it slightly see-through. So I can both see the grid and the shading partially. So you need to decide for what you're working on what's the better view. The first thing now that we've created this cube is we need to move it to the head area. So I'm going to go ahead into the front view, and I'm going to shade it so we can see it. I'm going to move it using the Move tool. And move it so that it's directly where his head is. You may want to move it a little bit so that the chin is a little bit under. And again, you're going to need to adjust these things as you go along when you're cleaning up your model. If you look at this cube, we have the 4 divisions in the front and 3 on the side. The reason that we are doing this is so that we can extrude out from this model. I'm going to turn the shading off here, the wire X-ray. We can extrude out from these 2 points and still have this base of the head. We have 3 sections on the side, so it gives us something to pull from here. And then across, we'll have these 2 here. If we didn't have 2 boxes here, instead we only had 1, we'd have to split it for the legs. So these boxes will act in unison as we extrude down until the point where we get to the legs, and then we'll extrude them separately. They will extrude on either side outwards to create the arms. So we're going to start with the Extrude tool. I need to go into Face mode. In order to do that, I need to right-click on my object and choose Face. I have the settings so that I can only select the faces through the center. It's in your preferences, and I highly recommend it. It makes sure that you don't accidentally select faces. It's very easy to select faces through your model accidentally and then start moving it, and you'll find that the back of your model is moving with the front of your model. I'm going to shift-click to select both of these faces. And I'm going to go ahead and go into front view so I can see the extrusion. The first extrusion I want to make is for the neck, and I'm going to access the extrusion tool under Edit Mesh, Extrude. You'll see that there's an option box for extrude. You have divisions, so you can add additional divisions. In this case, we only want the 1, which is the standard. We don't need any of the other settings, no smoothing or tapering or twisting. But it's all to extrude, and it's going to provide me with this extra tool. I'm going to grab the arrow only and pull that down. The reason I'm not grabbing the center to move it is because the center lets it move on all axes at once, and I want to be very controlled and make sure I'm only moving that part down. So now that we have the neck, we can go ahead and create the torso. I'm going to hit G on the keyboard to extrude again, and I'm going to extrude down to under the armpits. What I'll need to do at this point is widen this to fit in sort of a triangular edges on an angled edge. So I'm going to go to my selection tool. You can hit Q on the keyboard to access it, and I'm going to need to go back in a perspective view. And if I hold down Command, I'll be able to toggle here. I'm going to stretch these 2 out. I can scale them. So let's look at that. If I grab the Scale tool, It's R on the keyboard. If I scale from the center, it's going to scale all the way around, like so. Not necessarily want to do that right now. I just want to scale to the side. So I'm going to use this handle, and you'll see that it doesn't scale the depth as well. Let's turn them around, go back into front view here, and let's scale out the sides so that they reach the armpit. Now, not quite in the armpit, so if you want to move it around, you can use the move tool. If you press W on your keyboard or go over here to the move tool, and you can kind of position that back up into the armpits there. If you need to reposition the neck, you need to select all of the edges around before you move it. This is working because I have the two faces selected here. Now I'm going to extrude again, and I'm pressing G because G brings up the last tool that you've used. And I'm going to extrude down to make the main part of the body. And it's a little wide here, so I'm going to need to scale it. So again, I'm going to hit R and scale that down a little bit to give him more of a natural inset underneath the hips here. Then I want to extrude the legs down. Each leg I'm going to have to extrude separately. So let me go ahead and make sure that I have one face selected. So I'm going to click away and tumble down and select one face. I just have the one face selected. So now if I go into this view, into my front view, I can hit G and it'll bring up extrusion again. And I can extrude that down. In addition to extruding, I'm going to want to scale it and move it. So I'm going to scale by holding R, clicking R, and bring up the scale tool. And then I'm going to move it with by hitting W and getting the move tool out. I'm going to move it down so that it looks right about there. Now from there, you could either do the other leg, or you could move on to the foot or the arms. So let's go ahead and look at how the foot's going to work. The foot is going to consist of two cubes. So we're going to go ahead and make another extrusion down. And if you want to match it more to that foot, you're welcome to do so. Scale it out a little bit. And then now I'm going to extrude, but I'm actually going to extrude forward. I'm going to click away, select this face, hit G, and I need to be in the side view for this. And now I'm going to extrude forward to make sure that that foot is about right. Now we'll clean up the model in the future, but you can move this edge back using the edge mode in order to get that curve of the foot. So let's go ahead and do the other side. I'm holding Command and my left mouse button. And I'm selecting the face from the center. I'm still in face mode. I'm going to go back. And I'm going to be in the front view again. I'm going to hold G down, and it's still the extrude tool. That was the last tool that we selected. I'm going to pull it all the way down. I'm going to try to match as close as possible to the other leg. And I'm also going to scale at this point. Command Z to get that face back selected. And I'm going to scale and move it over. Hit W to move. Looking pretty great. Alright, so we got to extrude the other foot. So again, G, extrude down. And then we're going to scale by hitting R and scale. And now I'm going to extrude forward. I'm going to actually need to get the other side to extrude forward properly, although maybe we could just select the face here. I'm going to hold down the middle mouse button. I'm going to grab this here, so this face right here. And I think if we do it from that side, it'll be just fine, because we'll see if it goes past where it needs to go. So again, G to extrude, and I'm going to pull it out right to here, so we can get it pretty good. There we go. Alright, so let's look what we got. So we've got an armless man, we've got some feet, got a torso, and a blockhead. So he's a blockhead right now. I gotta make him a little bit fancier in the future. Next tutorial, next video, I'm going to add arms onto our little guy.